Hello, I'm Jason Laughlin. The purpose of this report is to investigate how we as a nation can improve the unhoused crisis. Historically, we have arrested drug abusers and locked them up with some mandated drug classes, eventually sending them right back to the same situation. A solution would be that, instead of incarcerating individuals for drug abuse, we commit them to in-house drug treatment programs, along with programs that teach them how to live their lives again. This report will evaluate two positions. Side A is the status quo. We continue to incarcerate unhoused drug offenders. With less than 5% of the world's population, but nearly 25% of its incarcerated population, the U.S. imprisons more people than any other nation in the world, and in federal prisons alone, nearly 65% of inmates are there for drug offenses. Studies have shown that incarcerating drug offenders is found to be almost as effective in reducing violent and property crime as locking up other types of offenders. Also, drugs are not the primary cause of homelessness. COVID and the housing market have caused many to not be able to afford to live. And once on the streets, many of these people fall prey to drug dealers and lean on drugs as a means of comfort and escape from the harsh realities that they face. There is also the issue of human rights. Anything that takes control out of our hands is bound to raise serious controversy. To commit drug abusers would be to take away their right to life, liberty, and security of person. Then there's side B. We commit to laws that force the unhoused drug offenders to try for a better life. States and federal governments spend about $10 billion a year imprisoning drug offenders, and these costs do not include the impact incarceration has on the economic and social life of our country, individual states, and communities. Recidivism for these offenders is between 30 to 50%, which means that money will be spent repeatedly for the same individuals. For 100 individuals, this equates to over $5 million in care, with no real improvement to the quality of life for the offenders or those in the communities in which they live. But a survey conducted by the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration found that more than 95% of people who needed drug rehab in 2023 didn't receive it. Many people turn to drugs after experiencing life on the streets, intensifying the very problems that are causing someone's homeless experience to begin with, and creating a vicious cycle that is extremely hard to break. When each day is intensely focused on just finding food and shelter to survive, long-term recovery can simply become a low priority. Still, you cannot escape the issue of basic human rights, but America has a history of committing people with mental health issues if they meet certain criteria. Mostly it must be decided that they are a danger to themselves or others, that they are currently unable to make the right decisions for themselves, and that a reasonable person would accept the treatment. How is it that chronic drug abuse does not fall into this category? Currently, 35 states and Washington, D.C. have enacted involuntary commitment laws for those suffering from substance abuse disorders, finding that they have a moral obligation to help those who are unable to help themselves. According to the National Institute on Drug Abuse, treatment does not need to be voluntary to be effective. Studies show that involuntary commitment can significantly increase treatment entry and retention rates, as well as the overall success of treatment intervention. This report recommends that more states enact laws for the commitment of drug abusers, and that all states take it seriously. Statistics have shown that mass incarceration and minimal treatment of drug abusers have not worked, costing the American taxpayers trillions of dollars in wasted money. It's time to find a plan that works. I believe that we can restructure some of our overcrowded prisons, allowing offenders to spend a year in a detox facility instead, providing more mental health and substance abuse support and fewer correctional staff. Upon graduation, they spend the next 3 years in a residential treatment facility, or RTF. These RTFs will teach them the skills of how to function at home and within society. These should take place in a dorm-type living structure with days full of individual and group therapy. After those 3 years, graduates should be moved into special houses with other graduates for 1 year while continuing to attend regular individual and group therapies and also receiving support with education and employment. Once that year is finished and graduates are ready, we'll buy them a place to live. These houses will be owned by the government but occupied by the graduates. When they remain drug-free and employed for 5 years, they will have the option to make payments towards the previous 5 years of property taxes in order to own the house. I think we can all agree that drug abuse and homelessness are huge problems that not only marring our landscapes, but our idea that the American dream is still relevant. Something must be done, and the status quo is not it. Thank you.